Guys, to get you up to date with the door that we're building, this is a Kiat door, 1.3 meters, 1.33 by 2.4 meters high. We've done a little frame in the back just for stiffness and rigidity, all made from Kiat. 129 little screws and then 129 little plugs in there. I'm just now started there on that end, started sanding the plugs down to get them away. So that's what I'm going to continue with now. Get the plugs gone, then we're going to put a chamfer on both sides, top and bottom, or front and back. Put some chamfers on, stain it with some teak stain to get it red. And then of course there's also on the other side, there's a little ugliness that I have to cast some resin in. So just to give you an idea how I get rid of the little plugs, I take my little cordless multi-tool, cut the plug relatively flush off, a little bit away from the surface, so I don't scratch the surface of the wood. I then take my orbital sander and just go over it and sand it through the grits. Let me get that done quickly. So the door I've sanded, but I haven't filled the resin yet. We'll do that a bit later. There's a whole bunch of small little jobs that I just have to get out of the workshop first before we can continue with that. Last night me and Kunrad, we made something like 36 little trophies for a customer that needed them urgently on Monday. And it is now Friday, sorry. And this customer phoned me yesterday. He wants 20 little frames and he wants it on Monday, so I must make that quickly. But the big question here is this worth it? Now, I know the answer already because I did some maths and it's my own fault. I went and bought this, and as you can see, it's absolute horrendous wood. It's supposed to be 38 by 38, and at the moment they measure 34, 33, 32 in some places. So first I'm going to put them through the planer so I can make the half lap joints on the corners. The cost of this was 290 Rand. What I'm charging the customer is 440 Rand. 22 Rand per frame. So I'm going to do a time lapse now and show you how long it takes to do this, what it cost me to do it, and show you why I think this is not worth it. I'm doing it as a favor at the moment, not because I'm making something. It's not worth it for me at all. So let's go, let's make some frames. So guys, that's now all the parts cut. The idea that the plan that I've got, originally the previous ones I've done with half laps. So I decided to save material and time, I'm just gonna do butt joints for this bunch and see how they do. So that's basically what we're gonna do. So now I'm gonna pre-drill and screw and glue all of them and get them together. So far, planing, cutting to size took me about 3/4 of an hour. Let's see how long the rest of it takes. So guys, that's all of them now planed, cut to size and glued together. No screws, no nails. This far. Let's see what this cost me. It cost me 290 rand for the material. And then let's say electricity, the planer, the saw, the lights, the whatevers. Plus then maintenance like sharpening off my planer blades and then a few cents included for new blades. I'm working at about 25 rand total, which I think is a little bit not enough, but yes, 25 rand for that. I added, that gives us then, oh yeah, and then about 10 rand glue that I used on this. So my total on this cost to make this is 325 rand for the bundle. I charged the customer 440 bucks. So my profit in the end on this is 5 rand and 75 each of these. It's 115 rand for 2 hours labor. Is it worth it? Please comment, tell me, is it worth it? I really want to know. What rates do you charge people for something like this? Because I don't think it's worth it. The moment I add screws to this, in other words, I just go put 4 screws in here. That's another 45 cents per screw times 4. That works out to about 36 rands extra. So then I'm under 100 rand profit for 2 hours labor. I don't know. Is it worth it? Please guys, comment and tell me what you think about this. I'm going to leave this alone now to dry. Then I'll do some sanding, which haven't been added to the sum. And we're quickly going to continue with something else. So guys, for the next week project, we must make 30 of these little trophy stands, I suppose you can say it, or metal stands. And all this is it folds open. It's got a little hollow that takes a metal. It's going to stand like that. So I must make quickly 30 of them, and I'm going to make it from the Kiat. It's not a difficult design. It's actually quite easy. It's 4 little pieces of wood. It's been glued together with a little hinge part, which is basically just pins on the ends to enable it to swivel. I don't know what we're going to call this. Let's call this deck chairs or deck chair trophy stand, because it looks almost like a little deck chair when it folds open. So to make this, my stock is very thick, and then as you can see, the stock we need is actually very thin. So I'm going to cut a whole bunch of thin stock and then also the little borders on the edges, and I'm going to make parts out of this. First, what I'm going to do, I'm going to rip it in half on the bandsaw just to save wood and material. And lots of cutting, lots of gluing. For 30 of these, 4 pieces each, is 120 parts we have to cut quickly. So let me start with that. Guys, the parts that I need now is, the full width of this is 90 millimeters. This is just 70 millimeters. So I'm gonna cut now a heavy 85 millimeters just for some extra meat. I've put it through the planer quickly just to get some flat surfaces, and then cut one edge straight on the table saw. I'm now gonna rip it up into 85 millimeter strips and then split them on the bandsaw. offcuts that is left over we'll be able to use for the little sides everywhere. So guys, what you've seen me do there is I've taken the board, planed the outsides, split it on the bandsaw into 2 parts. Then I put it through the planer again on the rough side to get it down to 10 millimeters. And the whole idea is, once I got to 10 millimeters, I then took the other offcuts, planed them down to 10 mil again by 20 mil. So if we put them together, we're going to end up with something like that. I have to chop them up into small little pieces now to create the parts of the little box. The one part is a bit longer than the other part, and that is to create little chairs, shall I say. So first off, I'm just going to cut 30 of the small ones now first into dimensions I want them, and then I'll cut with the rest. I'll cut the shorter parts. The rest, these side parts, I'll cut out of these that I've chopped as well. So let me get 30 of these done quickly, 30 of these, and then 60 of those. That's in all the parts cut. 30 of the long ones, 30 of the little shorter ones, 60 of the sides. So what that is going to end up like is, if we take one of those, we put them on top of each other, and we take 2 of these, one on that side, one on that side. That's basically what we end up with. Sorry about that. So that's then the 4 parts per box. That's going to create this. Now what's going to happen now is, on this side there's a bit of a chamfer cut, and then also on the end there's another chamfer. So on all the short ones I must now cut the little chamfer, and then once they are together I will then take the whole lot and cut the chamfer, that one there. If you look at the box, the little chamfer that I have to cut on the short side will determine at what angle this lies back. That's now the little chamfer that you see there. So them I'll have to cut all of them first before I can assemble the box. Then once the box is assembled, I can just do a final chamfer on the back side there. But the biggest thing now at the moment, or the biggest job left at the moment, is the little 50mm holes that I have to do with a Forstner bit. I'm just battling at the moment to find a 50mm Forstner bit, but I hope to get one this week. Then we can do all that and start assembling. So guys, then all the little 150 by 150 frames is done. I gave them a quick sand and wrapped them. They're ready for delivery. And then also there on top is a bunch of logos I lasered for a lady on leather. The logos I charged the lady R2.60 per logo. So that is 91 rands with the logos that I've lasered for everywhere on the leather. So the profit on whatever you see here is not that much. But if you take the amount of labor it costs, not that much. So come and tell me what you think. Maybe I'm too cheap. Maybe I'm correct. Please tell me.